Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 23rd episode of The Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. My name is Sandy Hibbert. I'm your host, and I'm with my luscious co-host, Mr. Marc Miller, today.
Hi.
How you doing? Well, I had to top what you said you had for breakfast this morning, so.
Exactly.
We have a great show planned today. I'm super excited to be welcoming an old friend and colleague that I worked with a long time ago, and we did some great stuff together, Mr. Mike Brodie, the king of Keller Williams Plano and Keller Williams investor extraordinaire. So this guy is awesome. So get your pens and pads ready and take notes. We'll be digging deep into it here in just a few minutes. But first, let's get caught up with Marc. How you doing?
Doing good. Yeah. Already in December.
I can't believe it.
I know.
I mean, this is like our Christmas episode thing.
So
we should have had a tree and all that, but who has time,
Yeah.
you know?
So we're starting to get the closing rush. Orders are slowing down a little bit, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But the big rush, we do a lot of commercials, so we're getting a lot of movement toward closing by year end.
Oh, that's great.
Which is always strange for me because we're on a fiscal year. So December is just December to me. Because I've still got another quarter after that for my year for 2021. But all that being said, everybody else is rushing to the closing. So, and all's good. We've opened in Frisco. Got a
That's
location
fantastic.
open, in Frisco Village. We're really excited about that.
You in and operating?
Yeah, in and operating.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Autumn Bain is heading that operation up for us, and I'm excited about being in Frisco.
That's cool.
To that side, and then we're probably within a month of closing on our title company down in Houston, and entering into that marketplace, which I'm excited about as well.
Wow.
So busy.
What's next? What's after Houston?
Then you just kind of make sure you're solidified down there. Might probably add a couple of branches, assess that. But I think there's a lot of transportability of business between Houston and Dallas. So kind of work that pathway.
I love watching you because when you took this gig, I remember you telling me you were going to do this. I remember us having that conversation. And it's so cool to see it all unfold and how hard you've worked and your team here from Dallas, but expanding to all these places. You said you were going to do this. I love it.
The biggest question mark was, and Mike probably has a similar scenario of time, do I have enough energy?
Well, you established that clearly last episode that you were a little tired.
I'm really excited. So that's a good part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so all
awesome.
good.
Good. Well, I'm excited about this show today.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce Mike and let's jump in, not waste any time on that.
He really doesn't need any introduction.
No, he doesn't.
Marketplace, and that's the truth. He's equally humble to that side, but Mike's been a good friend of mine for over 30 years
at least
in the business. At least. Maybe further than that. I have to go back to maybe as far as Brodie and Dillingham.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We used to have a basketball team.
Yeah, back when our knees were good and our backs didn't hurt, we played some little basketball together. But Mike is the broker owner of Keller Williams Plano, and we all know him for that. But he also has a massive amount of investment beyond that nationally.
I think that's what a lot of people don't know.
It's
It's how involved he is with Keller.
He's in California and Hawaii with 38 offices. There, over 6,000 agents, and then also in Maryland, D.C. with another 4,500 agents in that marketplace. So he's literally national, which is a great perspective to look at from our market there. Because I can only
worldwide.
imagine even California from a relocation standpoint. He's got more honors than he wants me to cover. But he is one of the most influential, in my opinion, brokers in this industry. And but just out of curiosity, Mike, because I look down, I go down this list. What is the one thing that you either consider the greatest honor or that you enjoyed the most in service of all of those that we covered here?
I'd say that's a great question, but it's a tough question. Well, I've never thought of it that way. Maybe receiving the Distinguished Service Award from the National Association of Realtors. They only give up to 2 a year.
That's the big one, the national
one.
one.
Out of a million, now 1.5 million, they allow 2 people a year, and it's based not just on service for the National Association of Realtors, but also back to your state and local, and also in community. And out of all the qualified people, some of the others from Texas, names that many might know, that preceded me from Texas were like Virginia Cook, Abby Halliday. I mean, that's just to be in the same.
That's incredible.
The same cadre as some of those amazing leaders, and was quite an honor. Yeah.
What about when you were with chairman of the Texas Real Estate Commission?
That's a different role. It was an honor to be appointed by then Governor Bush, and
Right.
I served for 7 years, 4 years as chairman
Yeah.
at his privilege, and it was a great honor, but it was a task.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was a great.
Probably learned a
Is
lot.
doing
learned a
something
lot.
like that a full-time job?
No.
No.
No, we would meet about once every 2 months for a day, and they may meet a little bit more now just because it's grown. A number of realtors and or real estate agents actually they're all agents, not just realtors. So they probably have more issues to look at. Yeah,
So you've been married to this industry. I mean,
very much.
it's not been a side thing. It's not been something that you've
Yeah.
just done for the money. You have actually invested in Dallas,
Yeah.
North Texas, the
Well, they
the
sold
whole
it. They sold it,
United
Marc. They probably
States
still
real
do it.
estate
It's-
industry.
I got licensed just 49 years ago this month, and I started in January. So, in January will be 49 years. Is that right? And I tell people how I love change. I'm a big change agent. I love all the change that goes on. I said, I've been in the same role, same business for 49 years. Been married to the same woman for 49 years. I've been in the same house for 47 years, and so, but I love change, right? So, it's all good.
Well, you know what? That solidifies your life enough so that you can embrace change, right? I love that. I love that. And your son's with you?
Son and son-in-law. Son-in-law is
Okay.
one of our top agents in Plano. Nick McCoy, and then Tony Brodie is now. He's had a lot of roles. He started in title, and then became an assistant or team leader. Team leader at Dallas Preston Road, which I founded. Not under me. There was under different leadership then. He did that for 6 years. Went out on his own and opened an office in Northern Virginia as a owning partner. Then he went to Austin to run a large office there as the team leader for 5 years for the president and COO of Keller Williams. Then he spent 6 years as a regional director in Northern California, and now he's the managing partner and a co-owner in Northern California and in Maryland, D.C. Awesome. So he's in the business. It's a real blessing and joy to be close to my son and son-in-law.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a family kind
Absolutely.
of business.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Well, when Mike speaks, it's kind of like the old E.F. Hutton commercials. Everybody listens. And when and I've sat in on many training sessions I've hosted at the Collin County Association of Realtors when he was a speaker. Everyone listens to what Mike has to say, and I thought, we can cover a myriad of topics, but today I really wanted to drill into kind of where we're headed in 2022, how you approach the kind of that planning process, Mike, and certainly comment too, because in the last board meeting I sat in on for CCAR, Mary Allidy talked about there's 175 new members a month joining, and then you look at the volume of agents that we have in the marketplace entering into it. So you've got seasoned people, new people, and all that. So it's kind of like, how do you plan? There's two sides to that. How do you plan if you're seasoned and a veteran, and how do you plan if you're a new entrant into the marketplace? So if you kind of would pick out kind of some details that you might focus on, like the bullet point side, maybe 3 of those or more if you prefer. Kind of what would be a starting point on how to plan in this business?
Well, first of all, I believe in the concept of begin with the end in mind. Where do you want to be? What's your vision? But then you execute on a daily basis. So you think long, but you execute daily.
Right.
And there's a book called, I think, The 12-Week Year that's been popular the last. And that book says instead of doing annual planning, I'm not talking the 5 and 10 year plan, but annual planning, that you do it in quarters. And so you work, because let's just take right now, we're late in the year, and so we got a whole new calendar year coming up, and everybody's setting their plans for 2022. And say third quarter of 2022 is going to look a lot different when we get there than it does now.
Yep.
And so as you get closer to it, you might want to rethink your plan and plan for that then. Go ahead and get the plan in place, but you update it every 3 months or so.
Very good
So it's
advice.
It's an interesting book, but I really love the concept more than some of the details of the book. But it's a great book, and it gets you thinking about once you set a 12-month plan, particularly in today's world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, things change so quickly.
Just think if you had set it in 2022, this is what we're going to do all year, no matter what, and then the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
I mean, that just turned
Yeah.
everything upside down,
Yeah.
right? So that forced us into
I like that.
revisiting and more short-term thinking.
Right.
The 12-week year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So I'd say that, and I'd also say that I believe that how do you say that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Right. So pick out your anythings.
Yeah, I love
and,
that.
And prioritize them and just go execute. Show
Yeah,
up.
yeah. You know, I did a video here recently about you can be on all the social media networks if you want to, but it's really better if you choose the one or two that you're really comfortable with and blow it up.
Right.
So same kind of a concept.
Right.
Be selective about what you're planning, about what you're going to jump into, because you can't be everywhere all the time, right? Yeah.
Well, that if I can just jump around a little bit.
Of course.
In fact, we're doing an orientation today for new agents to our office, our market center. And one of the things, if I get back in time, I would say to them is, you're not how big. You're probably thinking big, think bigger, but start small. You got to master the small before you can begin marching toward the bigger, and then you can add more smalls and master. And for somebody new, they need to master their database, their contacts.
Absolutely.
They've got to own their database and
Yeah.
make them because you want to be because everybody has a database, whether it's a holiday or Christmas card list. That's a database for a homeowner, right? And
We
a lot of those
preach
are
on
going out
about
right
this.
now. So
Preach
that's a
on about
database.
this. This is good.
And so, and I will say that you want to be the realtor in their database. Not only they in your database, but you want to be in their database. You want to be, because they probably have more than one realtor in their database, right?
I guarantee you.
But you want to be the realtor, and so that you just start marching towards that.
What do you think is a realistic, manageable database? Because somebody could have 500. I mean,
I think
to really work.
I'm just going to put an unlimited number. It could be thousands, tens of
Okay.
thousands. Yeah, with all the CRMs and the management tools we have today, it doesn't mean you have to be nose to nose, belly to belly, or whatever every day with everybody. There's so many ways to communicate now, whether it's through social media, which you're a master of, and just touch plans, all the electronic touches. But and particularly for the key people, your top referrers, where
Yeah.
you are the realtor in their database, they're going to need a touch at some point. Now, touch is more than just a text. It's maybe an invite to something. It's maybe a call. Maybe it's just a quick visit. It's a client part. Whatever. They still need a little bit of that. You're not going to do that for thousands, but you have your platinum list. And I know when I was really active in sale, I had I'd say a really strong database of about 800 to 1,000. My business partner Dick Dillingham had 4,500. We would debate over which is better.
Whose is most important,
But
or most
so
successful?
out of the 800, I had 100 that I know they knew absolutely in my name, what I did. I've probably had a transaction with them. There was some relationship. Out of the 800, those were my A's. And I had like an A plus or a platinum list. It was 8 people who were absolute advocates, ambassadors. They would literally, if they're at a restaurant and they hear somebody talk about real estate over here, they don't know. They say, I know you're talking about real estate. I'm not eavesdropping, but you need to know Mike Brodie.
There you go.
And
Wow.
You want those kind of people, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and it's just like if you're a frequent traveler. So I'm executive platinum on American Airlines. They treat me differently than they do the occasional traveler.
Me.
Well,
Right.
it's the same thing.
No, I
so
get it, I get
you
it.
treat your best clients, customers, referrers different, right? You nurture that, right? With gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because you have 10,000 people in your list doesn't mean you're going to communicate to all of them the same way, which you touched on that. And I think that's really important for agents to understand, that segmenting their messages, knowing their database, know who's in your database and where they are in the pipeline.
Right.
And then you can communicate with them properly. Yeah.
So you're intaking new agents into KW Plano, and you're seeing the market and what we talked about, the number that are coming in every month. But we also talked about the other end of that, and that is inventory. So how do you balance that to plan, be an encourager, and yet knowing that we just seem to still continue to have the same luck that we've got, and that's just there's only so many homes that are coming onto the marketplace.
Well, Sandy and Mark, this may help you get on headline news when I share this. We have a shortage of inventory.
No.
It's breaking news, I know. But, I was looking at it last week, and right now we're approximately, as far as through the Netris MLS system, we're at about 50% of what available listings were there a year ago. And by the way, last year was less than the year before.
Last year was bad.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my gosh.
so that leads to an interesting dilemma: is what's going on, because we've got these low rates now. It was just on news this morning. We're having the highest inflation rate since 1982. That's 40 years.
Yeah.
So prices are going like crazy. So there's just a lot of interesting things being stirred in the economic pot right now. And so with it, and I believe because of our lack of inventory and supply, that we have a lot of sellers who want to sell, but if they're locked or they're prisoners in their own home because they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Every week I hear, I'd like to move. Where will we go?
Yeah.
What do we do?
No, I get that.
And so
I get that.
And there's probably going to be a lag effect. Historically, there's every week in the paper you're seeing there's this new subdivision coming with these thousands of homes coming everywhere from Denison to East Dallas to Salina or Prosper, Tarrant County, everywhere. So the supply is coming. So it's coming so hard because it's so in demand. But they were slow to go because they're still thinking of the last recession, which is a long time ago now. Once we get the big supply, if there's a shift, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have an oversupply. So there'll be another turn.
You think that's going to happen?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, and I don't know how severe or how soon.
Yeah.
I don't think it's imminent, but it'll happen. And so the supply always lags behind the demand. So if we're going up here, supply is trying to catch up, and we go like this, they're going to be sitting here with supply, and it'll be falling back down. So it's just cycles. I mean, it's been going on for
It's crazy, but then there are
decades.
still people right now that are priced out of their neighborhoods. They're growing out of their homes, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and another, this is new information from Netris, all like 60 communities in the DFW area, from Highland Park, Plano, you name it. It breaks it down, each one by price, what the sell price to list price, and most of them are still over 100 to 105%, particularly on the price point. However, it's interesting, last month, over the same month last year, okay, so November over November, is the number of units, I looked at three more, I looked at Highland Park, Plano, and I think Frisco, is the number of units sold or closed in November were half what they were last year. I'm not saying that's a trend yet, but that's something to
So
watch.
it's slugging.
So the closings are slowing down. Prices are up 30%. Average price in Plano was $370 last year. This year it's $450. But it's half the units. Last month.
Come on, guys. I mean, you got to get real about this stuff for real people that don't have tons of money. Two, mom and dad are both working hard. You got daycare. You can't afford to buy these houses. And then where are you going to go for schools? You know, if you've grown up in Richardson or you grew up in an area in Dallas, you don't want to put your kids in those schools. Well, Richardson schools are good, but in certain pockets, you know.
I'm a GISD product, but go ahead. Grew up in East Dallas, but that's okay.
Okay,
No,
well,
I love it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a real strain on young families, and I'm just curious as to, what's going to happen for them. Great that your people's homes are appreciating, but
So-
what does that mean for people who need to buy a house?
Great observations.
Okay,
Sandy. And so
okay.
go back to your earlier point. Do you think it'll really change? So we're feeling this inflationary prices, just in housing and everything, gas, food, everything,
Yeah.
up. Interest rates are still 3%. Inflation is, what's going to do to interest rates? They're going to start moving the rates up to slow everything down. So when they move the things rates up for those who choose to borrow, which is 90-something% of the market, now it becomes even less affordable because prices have run to here. So that's when the equal.
It's a little teeter.
That's when you get over the teeter-totter and it's going to float.
So actually, homes are more affordable right now.
Yes.
Explain
I don't
that.
believe, and I actually don't believe people are buying on affordability. They're buying on payment.
Oh, absolutely.
They're buying
Great
the
point.
payment, not that. That's why they're paying whatever it takes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's what all boils down to all of us, how we live,
Well, and you still got a factor we've not seen in several years now, and that's the foreclosure market. Where does that teeter in? Because that's always been some form of inventory that's been out there for us. And how do you? Where's the potential? You don't see I don't see the short sale coming back into significant play, but there are some agents out there that kind of use that as part of a planning
Right.
to specialize in those kind of spaces.
Well, you wouldn't think the foreclosures would come back in a large way, because if you've had a property, the equity's run up.
Yeah.
You should have plenty to get rid of it. I mean, to sell, even if it's under duress, and still come out. So you don't think. Some people forecast it. Some say it's not going to be that bad. I don't know. That's
I
a
don't
crystal
either.
ball.
Yeah, that's a variable we've.
And the
it's
way
not
that they're
right.
handling foreclosures
Well,
are a little bit different than they were in
They're
years
going to do loan
past.
mods.
Yeah.
They're being encouraged to do that.
Yeah.
Versus
They want
lender
people
would
to
actively
stay.
foreclose because they know they've got the equity in the
Yeah,
house.
true.
So somewhere they're going to come out of that, and it'd be interesting to see that side. So.
So, Mike, when you're working with new agents coming in, we kind of talked about the plan and things like that, shortage of housing. You talk about working on your database because that's where they've got to start. You know, they've got to start contacting people. How do you feel about social media? And what do you tell and how do you teach your new agents about diving into social media and websites and online stuff? How much do you want them to be involved in that stuff, and how much do you want them to be involved in nose-to-nose communication?
Well, we absolutely believe in it. In fact, we have a full-time employee who's a tech trainer, and he does the social platforms.
Is it still my?
No, it's Eddie.
Ed-
Eddie is the new guy.
I don't think I've met Eddie.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Agents loving, and it's everything tech. Okay, from learning how to turn that on to all the other. but
Some
all the
agents
apps.
need to
all the
learn that,
apps,
believe
all
it
the
or not.
apps and CRM. We've got our own CRM, and some people you choose to use others. That's okay. But he takes them into the social media, and I think a lot of you tell me. To me, it depends on who you are or whether you're a millennial or wherever you are. So somebody who's a baby boomer is probably using different social media. We're using the old boring stuff like Facebook, all right? And then I don't do Instagram. I've got a Twitter account, but I don't use. I look every now and then. I'm more kind of a voyeur. What are they saying? But I never put anything on there.
Mike is
Tick-
probably searching you.
and don't even. Mark, you want to tell us about TikTok? Is that- so,
I'm not dancing around TikTok.
No, you're right. I mean, that's
So
a good
there's
point.
so
It kind of
much,
depends on the
yeah. Right,
age
right.
and
and what do you want
my
to convey if you're in social media as well?
True.
You're
Yeah.
saying real estate.
yeah. You know, different platforms allow you to do different things and communicate in different ways with your prospects, but they still got to be there, right? I mean, you think they need to be on social media?
yes.
Yeah.
But the website is not necessarily anymore the calling card, because that kind of was the calling card. when we-
Yeah, I think websites. I've got one, and I think it's just competitive parity. Because when I got it, it was like that was the thing to do, and everybody else was getting one, so I better have one too.
Right.
I don't see it as a business driver. Of course, I've got the domain name, so it's Mike at MikeBrodie.com, which that's so. And that's going to rush everybody to my website, which there's not much there other than what you
Well,
introduced
yeah,
me with.
your information.
Yeah, so I don't know that it's I don't think it's the driver of the business. You
Because
probably
they've
make
still
it
got to get
something.
out
Right.
and get front
Right.
and face front with people.
Right.
And I think that is,
You're not going to have a seller, and I don't do many. I do a few transactions, and they're usually high end. And if somebody says, "Don't give me to one of your agents," it's got to be one of those, which keeps me in touch with the market. But they don't ever say, "So tell me about your website." They're going to say, "What are you going to do with social? Where are you, Zillow, Realtor.com, and all those things, which we can talk about." I no longer say, and I'm going to put you on my website because that's a throwaway.
Right.
I kind of look at that, at marketing for real estate agents as, if you're setting a table and you've got all the accoutrement to eat your dinner, or if you're in a kitchen and you're a cook, you've got all of those things, little special tools, little special things that you need to add the finesse. And I think that social media and a website and all that is great in this pocket over here if you already have a foundation of a customer database or a prospect database that you are prospecting. You can do online prospecting on Facebook and whatever, but you can do the leads. But my experience and what I've seen is that so much of that is challenging because you get a lot of junk. Whereas if I go and speak at a chamber meeting, if I go and speak at a lunch and learn, if I go and speak at my networking group, I can promise you that I will walk away with cards in my hands. I will shake people's hands. I will get to know people, and I'll get a client.
Yeah,
I
you will.
promise you, every single time that I do it. I think that's so important. And I think in the days of COVID, we've all been behind this computer, for the last 18 months to 2 years. And new people might be coming out of that hole a little bit scared about what to do. And so they might have to have a little bit of a push on how to get out in front of people to meet people. But I do think you still need to have this batch of marketing koozies over here. I think that's
it's all
important.
part of the toolbox.
It is. It's
you
part
don't have
of
to
the
use all the
toolbox.
tools, but
Exactly.
you have a tool every now and then.
Exactly.
I need that one today, so I'll go
Yeah,
get that, whatever
yeah,
your toolbox is. And to your point, Sandy, of speaking in front of groups, no question. Right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of my career was built. I used to do some as part of a training program nationally for high producing agents, and there's no question that's helped build my career because of the visibility, the referrals, recommendation of other people. But even as simple as I tried at least twice a week to have lunch at my golf club in the men's grill. There's no and there's usually a large round table, maybe 6 or 8 people there. I don't wear a name badge. They know what I do, and I never bring up real estate, but real estate always comes up. They'll say, "Hey, Mark," and here's the question. They ask in China. I've been there. They've asked in Poland. I've been there. They've asked everywhere you go. How's the market? And so we know that question's coming. And so we should have a great answer.
So you better know.
You better have a compelling answer because that enhances your chance that they're going, wow, he's like the local real estate economist of choice. He knows his stuff, or she knows her stuff. And that raises your validity and more likely that they'll call you.
That's almost like your prepared elevator speech.
Yeah.
When somebody asks you, what do you do?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you got to be ready to talk.
Yeah.
Get to
I
the bullet
think
points
you have
and
to
that stuff.
specialize if you're going to be in real estate. You have to specialize in real estate. I mean, that sounds like a duh thing to say, but think about the realtors or the real estate agents that you have come across that did not specialize in real estate. They didn't know. They didn't know the neighborhoods. They didn't know the schools. They didn't know the parks. I want a realtor who's going to know the parks, know the neighborhoods, going to know where the high lines are, because I don't want a house under a high line, and I don't want a house across the street from a school. But if you don't have a realtor that's versed in that community like that, that is a strike against them. So I think that getting out in front of the people with your expertise is so important.
One of the things I've trained on is, and I'm going to make it real simple. Earlier I said, think big, but start small and master small. Let's say you're going to pick a neighborhood to geographically farm. That means where you're going to send materials, sponsor the school information book or website, home HOAs, whatever. First own your street or section of it. Own your street, then own the subdivision, and then go get another subdivision. And you just build on top blocks on top of blocks.
Absolutely. And no one's better at teaching that than you,
Well, you're kind.
because you've done that in your business. You have.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're out of time. So I'm really interested to dig into our 3 takeaways. And these are the 3 things that we want to leave with our audience today. Mike, I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it while Mark goes first and jumps in.
Well, I obviously I'd say regardless of your industry, you got to have a plan. And I like the fact what Mike talks about of not looking too far out, because this world that we're living in, I just don't think you can.
Yeah.
I'd almost have to be reviewing that on a monthly basis to that side. But with that plan, I think you have to make sure you're also putting in perspective about a budget for that plan that you're going to implement. So I kind of say the second thing is think about a budget, because what are you going to do in that? And then just kind of look at the market, and I kind of use the old SWOT, S-W-O-T, which is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, and kind of analyze based on what you're developing in your plan, what circumstances that you don't control may come into play, and measure that against your plan as well. So, but you got a plan, and I think what we've also said in here is you've got to know your content. Whatever you're doing, your expertise is what is most important that's conveyed when you have that opportunity of interaction. Not as much about what you did on the social media side and you posted where the best places to go for fireworks in July. It's more about when you get that opportunity to get in a conversation and really understand what their pains are and try to address those and be the source of knowledge in real estate. I think that's what's going to make the difference to that. So those are my takeaways from this.
Excellent. Mike?
Oh, okay. 2 or 3. 3 would be, as I said earlier, think bigger, but think bigger, but act daily, right? Second would be is who you're in business with is important. And I asked a very person I have great respect for. I actually consider him something of a mentor, an author and speaker pastor named Dr. John Maxwell. And I was in a small group meeting with him after he gave a speech to thousands. And one of the people in the meeting asked him, said, "How do you decide who you get in business with?" And I think they were talking like really getting business, financial, partnerships. He said, "I do." He said, "I call it my 4 C's." He said, first, character. Are they of good character? Not are they a character? Are they of good character? Second is, are they their competency? The third C is creativity. Can they bring something that I don't have? I need that. And so I'm going like, yeah. And then the fourth one, which was like, slap, I could have had a V8, right? Whatever. Is the fourth one was chemistry. You need to be in business with people that you like, you enjoy being with, you're going to get along, you're going to love each other, good through good and bad. Just that chemistry is critical, those 4 C's. So that was a great lesson for me. So who you're in business with matters. And I say that there's a lot of great choices. I have great respect for all my competition. I respect them all, and I'm friends with most. I think it's certainly, agents, but certainly at the broker level. And then the third would be, and I just heard this recently from Gary Keller, and we've always heard, or we've used or heard, go to where the puck's going to be. Wayne Gretzky's, I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where it's going to be. So I got a better chance to make the score.
Cool.
I've heard that for 3 decades, right? And Gary Keller said to a small group of us recently, he said, just be the puck. Don't skate to the puck, be the puck, make everybody come to you.
Oh,
right?
I
thought,
love
wow,
that.
So that changes, that was a mind shift for me, right?
Yeah.
And you certainly would want to be the puck and title, right?
Yeah.
You are a puck. I mean, that's a good thing.
I love that.
So
yeah.
anyway, so I just want to thank you. It's an honor and privilege to be asked. I'm glad to know I'm as high as 23rd on your list, but that's okay. No, I'm joking. But you're both such respected, dear, longtime friends, and so this has been
thank you.
Thank you for the compliment. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. My 3 takeaways are ditto and ditto, but for the year, I want to leave you with this thought: time, money, and imagination is what I think you need when you're putting your marketing plan, your business plan together, how you're working. I think the 12-day week, is that it?
12-week year.
12-week year is so brilliant. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember it correctly. So you've got to be able to pivot when you need to, but spending the time on your business, knowing what your budget is, and then being creative, having that chemistry, that creativity, that imagination, time, money, imagination, to be able to put it together. I've known so many people that would jump into a program and they didn't have time to do it, they didn't have the money to sustain it, and they had no clue how to do it. So time, money, imagination, taking it into 2022 to develop marketing plans, business plans, that will work for your business, that you can wrap your mind around, sink your teeth in, and be the puck. I love that. Oh, so Merry Christmas, you guys.
Same
Happy
to you.
New Year. Mark and I will be back with you in January, celebrating a brand new year of the Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. Until then, happy holidays. We love you guys. Be at peace. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.